Emily dipped her pen into the ink jar. She'd gotten the set online and enjoyed how fancy it made her feel to write with a dip pen rather than the convenient, easy, cheap, and consistent ballpoint.
Dear Jeff,
she wrote,
I want to forgive you.
Her heart sank. Seeing the words in front of her felt disgusting. She didn't want to forgive him. She didn't know if he even wanted to be forgiven or not. She dipped her pen again, even though it had plenty of ink, then sat there, looking at the friendly words she'd just written. The pen wouldn't move anymore. She crumpled up the paper and tossed it into her wastebasket filled with all the other Dear Jeff letters she had tried to write that day. She'd try again in an hour. Her sponsor had told her to do it, to write him a letter every day for 2 weeks, and not send it. She was supposed to forgive him, not for his sake, but for her own healing. It wasn't working. She was on day 3, and she hadn't completed a single letter. Maybe part of the process was to fail at writing. Intentionally feel terrible in order to get down deep into the painful emotions and then cut it all out. She wanted a drink, but she didn't want a drink. So she laid down on her couch in order to just get through it.
Take a nap,
she thought to herself with wide eyes. Every second was taking forever. And even worse, the way she was laying, she had a perfect view of all the failed letters piled up in the bin. It was like her ex-boyfriend was there, sitting cross-legged next to her desk, mocking her.
You're a failure, Emily. You can't even pretend to forgive me.
The pile mocked. She snatched the bin and walked outside in her bare feet. She didn't care that the apartment building hadn't been mopped since the Y2K problem had been averted. She didn't care that the parking lot had jagged asphalt between all the potholes. She just cared about getting each and every Dear Jeff out of her house and into the recycle.
Fuck you,
she hissed, dumping it out. Every part of her wanted to scream, lash out, kick the dumpster, set it on fire, cry while she watched his name burn. But before she could let out another whimper, she realized she was being watched. One of the other tenants was there holding their own trash. Emily was a mess. Pajama bottoms, frizzy red hair, green eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in days, bare feet, a mustard stain on her shirt that she hadn't bothered to change. She hadn't showered since Tuesday. It was now Friday. She knew exactly how crazy she looked. Screaming and kicking the dumpster would have to wait until no one was around to judge her.
Good morning. Your turn to empty garbage.
She walked back to her little apartment. Her feet hurt from the jagged asphalt. Sir Teddy Talks-a-Lot was a bear from a magical land of friendship and learning. He was supposed to be king, but he wasn't old enough yet, so he and his best friends, Gallop the Stallion and Turtlin the Wizard, go on a quest for the Golden Cup, so that they can all learn and grow up together on a big adventure. At least, that's what the 80s cartoon was about. It was really just an overglorified ad campaign, like all the cartoons of the 80s. The dolls of Sir Teddy were common in the 80s. But when Emily got back to her apartment, they were relatively rare. Only collectors had them, or they were rotting in attics. All this to say, it was extremely strange for Emily to get back to her door and see a Sir Teddy Talks-a-Lot toy waiting for her.
I want you to be my best friend,
Sir Teddy said, in that adorable cartoony voice, mouth moving with the help of one cheap servo.
No.
Conveniently, she was holding a wastebasket. Who put that toy bear there in the first place? She didn't care. She didn't want to know. She just wanted to go back to her depressive episode. Emily, restless-eyed, stared at the bear. Upside down, plastic-eyed, the bear stared back.
I want you to be my best friend.
She considered getting up, walking over, and stomping on the bear until it stopped. But that would have taken effort, and she had no effort left in her.
I had a best friend once. His name was Jeff,
she said, thinking about what he did. She couldn't stop thinking about what he did. Just a constant, obsessive thought going over and over and over again, like a mortar and pestle grinding slowly around inside her head, milling away her sanity. What Sir Teddy heard was different. He didn't hear anger or sarcasm. He heard,
I'm in love with some dude named Jeff, not you, Teddy.
It upset him, and his little face furrowed into a glaring expression. Saturday came and went. Emily left the couch 12 times between Friday 11:59 p.m. and Sunday 12:01 a.m. Once was to grab a handful of cheese from the bag of shredded cheddar in her fridge. Once was to find the TV remote. Twice was to fill her water bottle. The other 8 times were to pee. She was asleep for most of it, and disassociatedly watching TV for the rest of it. Binge-watching 90s sitcoms like they didn't have problematic homophobic undertones. It was at 1 a.m. on Sunday morning when something interesting happened. A phone call from her friend Maggie. Maggie said a lot, but only said one sentence that actually mattered. Jeff is dead. Emily felt a lot of emotions hearing the news. All of the emotions at once, even the purple ones. The wastebasket was empty, and it haunted her now how it had been filled with his name. She was supposed to write him that forgiveness letter, but since he's dead, was there any point to it? Was she too late? The letter wasn't even supposed to be sent. It was supposed to be written and thrown out. So did it matter that Jeff was dead? She looked at the wastebasket again. It was empty. That toy bear was gone. Emily wondered if she'd dumped the basket again and forgotten about it.
I want you to be my best friend,
Sir Teddy said, sitting on her cheap plastic table.
I want you to be my best friend.
She flicked on the lights. Sir Teddy talks a lot. One servo mouth was moving up and down. He was chewing. He opened as wide as his little mouth could, and he placed a severed human finger in his mouth, then continued chewing.
I want you.
The voice box in his chest said while he consumed flesh. Her cell phone, she left it on the couch. No way she was going back for it. She moved for the front door, but a tripwire was set up that caught her foot, and she flailed her way to the linoleum floor.
I want you,
Sir Teddy repeated.
No! Fuck off!
Sir Teddy stood up and hobbled to the end of the table. He jumped down to the floor and continued toward her. Lacking any semblance of grace, Emily flopped over and clambered her way to her front door, grabbing the knob. It slipped out of place and the components inside fell out. Sir Teddy opened his paw, dropping 4 small screws. Emily backed away towards the kitchen.
I want you to be my bride.
It reminded her of the time Jeff had asked her to marry him. How he'd asked her and how she said yes. How she said it out of fear instead of joy because she was scared of what would happen if she said no. It reminded her about how little people listened to her, how often she was spoken over, and how often others tried to tell her what to do and how to live. How often she was told how to feel. And she was finally ready to write Jeff's letter.
I hope you burn. How dare you propose to me? You think you're worth my time? You're just a dumb, little, insecure creature. You let your insecurities ruin everything, and then you try and take it out on me? You hurt others to make yourself feel whole. I hate you! You never cared about me. You never listened to me. I still have scars on my leg from what you did. I'm glad you're dead. You can't hurt me or anyone else again. Ah!
Sir Teddy took a step back. Emily rushed at him and grabbed him with one hand. She threw him as hard as she could out of the second-story window. For the first time in 6 months, she felt good. Angry, upset, tears welling up in her eyes, but still good, just to let herself feel it. 8 weeks later, and a number of therapy sessions, Emily visited Jeff's grave. She spit on it. Sir Teddy decided it would be best to find another bride.